So what I'm going to do now is we're going to change gears. We're going to move over to reopening and unemployment. And Dan, CEO and Senior Wealth Manager, already is on the screen with us. So welcome, Dan, to our presentation today.
I just wanted to make a note, Rocky, that Kathy, your wife, this is for everybody out there. If you remember in the past presentations, Kathy kind of had him in a black box. So his background, all you can see is him. He was in this black box. Well, he graduated out of the black box. Now he's out in the barn. So that's where the barn is coming from. So hopefully someday he'll be allowed to come to the house and do it out of his house someday. So just a little thought there. All right, Rocky, I can go ahead and take over from here, and we'll get on to reopening and the numbers.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, reopening and numbers. There is a lot of evidence out there now, as I'm going to kind of present here, that shows that we pretty much hit the bottom in the economy and are now moving outward. So this is a very, very, very good sign. This chart that we have up right now is the total U.S. freight carloads. In other words, you've got the trains and such that are transporting carloads worth of manufactured goods, and that freight number, as far as the number of carloads, bottomed out on 5/29 and is moving upward now. So that's a great sign. It means that we're actually starting to manufacture and get it on the rails and out to where they can finish the product. So very good sign there. Home builders, the National Association of Home Builders survey showed that we kind of bottomed out right around April, and again are moving forward. In other words, you've got construction going at this real nice pace right now, moving up towards the ultimate goal of getting back where we were before. So again, home builders, it's bottomed out and moving forward. Auto sales. It's interesting with the auto sales. They bottomed out again in April and are moving forward. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. One, yes, we are manufacturing. People are getting out. But two, the automotive industry is really putting out some pretty nice incentives to buy cars right now. So I actually had a couple clients call up this week talking about how they're buying a car, 0 interest rate, deferring the payments out for a few months. So a lot of incentives if it is about time to replace your car and you're comfortable with doing it right now, might be a very advantageous time to do it. Manufacturing is picking up all in all. As you can see here, we've actually got 4 different surveys that we're taking. Prior to February, everything was moving along quite nicely from a manufacturing standpoint. Then obviously we hit February, it drops down, and again in April, it looks like we bottomed out based on these surveys, and we're moving ahead. It's actually, we're moving ahead nicely. So we're about where we were prior to the crisis. And as long as we don't have any real spikes in the COVID outbreak or a second wave, it looks to me like this will continue moving this direction. And if you even look at things from more of a global standpoint, there is strong economic data that's showing that globally we're rebounding as well. And this shows a chart of the United States, France, China, and Germany. And you can see that China kind of fell down first, and that's that first V shape that you see there. And then you see the United States, France, and Germany. But what you can also see is that the Purchasing Managers Index for each one of these countries hit bottom and is now moving forward again and getting very close to where we were pre-crisis. So again, good news there. When we're looking at this chart here, we've looked at this chart this last week and the week before, and what it talks about is the government spending relative to sending checks out to individuals in relationship with each individual's personal income. So in February and March, you see that the amount of income that was from a government transfer, in other words, checks coming in, was a bit lower than you're seeing in April. April, we saw a jump in the actual amount of money that most people have received for personal income. So that's their personal income in combination with the government checks that they're getting. And you see a rise overall about 11%. Now, you strip away the government transfers that are coming in, and you're seeing an income level drop of about 7%. So it is so important as we're moving forward that this economy keeps going the right direction, because as the economy picks up, the government can pull back on the checks. Or you could look at it conversely and say, as the government is pulling back on the checks that they're mailing out to people, the economy has got to pick back up to offset the losses in income. So it's something that we really need to focus on moving forward, getting these companies, the small businesses, the big businesses open and running, so we can keep everything hopping and keep this recovery moving the right direction. Now, I will tell you that the hiring has actually slowed a little bit from June 1st to June 19th. Didn't stop, and it didn't go backwards, and that's a plus, but it did slow down a little bit. So June, we were at looking at the hourly workers pre versus now versus pre-crisis. We're down in June 1st, negative 29%. June 19th, we moved up a bit to 26%. So we are moving in the right direction. It just slowed down a little bit. And part of that, I believe, is effectively with the news really kind of hyping up what they were calling this major spike that's going on the COVID. I think people step back a little bit, but once they realize the numbers really aren't as bad as they were sounding, I think you'll start seeing the numbers and the workers move in the right direction.